All right, let's get right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to be looking deep inside ourselves, quite literally. We are talking about a massive, tireless organ working silently inside us, around the clock. Today, we're exploring the ultimate unsung hero, your body's very own chemical laboratory. Now, I want you to just think about this single, staggering number for a second: 500. While you're sitting there watching this explainer, maybe sipping a cup of coffee or just taking a breath, there is a single organ inside you performing over 500 distinct, vital functions. And no, it's not your brain, and it's not your heart. It's a relentless multitasker that honestly rarely gets the spotlight. Well, until something goes wrong. So, what exactly is this incredible biological machine? It's your liver. It is the body's largest gland and your absolute ultimate life filter. I want you to think of it like an industrial-grade chemical laboratory that's running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with absolutely 0 days off. Everything you eat, everything you drink, and even the everyday medicines you take, they all have to pass through this extraordinary biological checkpoint. Without a healthy liver, the entire body system simply shuts down. And to put its sheer physical scale into perspective, let's look at its weight: 1.5 kilograms, or just over 3.3 pounds. That is how much this organ weighs in your average adult. Tucked away securely in the upper right part of your abdomen, right beneath your ribcage, it is this dense, heavy powerhouse of natural engineering. So what exactly is that 3+ pounds actually doing for you right this very second? Honestly, it's got absolute superpowers. First up, blood filtration. It's actively removing toxins, medications, and alcohol from your bloodstream, literally converting them into harmless waste. Then bile production. It's creating the fluid you absolutely need to digest fats and stop bad cholesterol from building up. It's also your energy storage unit, taking raw glucose and packing it away as glycogen for whenever you need a sudden burst of energy. Next is protein synthesis. It creates essential proteins like albumin, which keeps your blood pressure stable, and the clotting factors that stop you from bleeding out from something as simple as a paper cut. And finally, fighting infection. It generates immune cells and hoards vital vitamins like A, D, K, and B12. It's the ultimate biological multi-tool. But despite its incredible resilience, this hero is under constant siege. This brings us to part 1, the silent daily threats. Take a look at this. A staggering 25% of all adults globally are currently dealing with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD, 1 in 4. And the really terrifying part? This isn't caused by excessive drinking. This is driven entirely by our modern diets, specifically consuming way too many everyday sugars and saturated fats. We're talking sodas, fast food, highly processed snacks. We are simply overwhelming the laboratory's capacity to process all these inputs, which causes fat to accumulate directly inside the tissue of the organ itself. What makes this so incredibly dangerous is just how silent the progression is. Early on, the liver doesn't complain, it just keeps working. You might spend year 1 on a high-sugar, saturated fat diet and feel totally fine. But by the time you hit year 5 or so and actually start experiencing late symptoms like chronic fatigue, abdominal swelling, or that yellowing of the skin and eyes known as jaundice, the damage is already severe. If it goes unchecked, by year 10, you're looking at serious inflammation and permanent scarring. Fast forward to year 15, and that scarring turns into cirrhosis or complete liver failure. Now, there is a pretty massive contrast in how this damage actually happens. On one side, we have the severe, well-known toxins. Alcohol addiction, for example, forces the liver to produce a highly toxic byproduct called acetaldehyde. Overusing common everyday meds like paracetamol without a doctor's advice can cause acute failure. And contaminated needles spread viral hepatitis B and C, which just gradually destroy liver cells. But then, there are these surprising traps. Did you know that rapid, extreme weight loss or overly restrictive low-fat diets can actually harm you? Yeah, they can prevent the proper flow of bile, which leads to painful gallstones. Sometimes, trying to be too healthy too fast backfires entirely on this really delicate system. Okay, I know that paints a pretty grim picture, but the crucial point to take away here is actually super hopeful. Your liver is literally the only internal organ capable of massive natural regeneration. The damage is very often entirely reversible if it's caught early enough. It has this incredible ability to heal and rebuild itself right from the brink. However, total neglect pushes it past the point of no return, and that's when we see devastating outcomes like liver cancer or the desperate need for an organ transplant. All right, enough of the bad news. Let's move to part 2, reversing the damage. Here is exactly how you can protect your filter. Check out this number because it should make everyone watching feel super optimistic. 30. According to recent studies published in the medical journal Hepatology, you can reduce your liver fat by a massive 30% just by doing one simple thing. You don't need to join some intense boot camp or run marathons, just 150 minutes of brisk walking a week. That is barely 20 minutes a day. Getting your heart rate up even slightly helps the liver metabolize and clear out that dangerous stored fat safely and naturally. And this easily builds into a totally manageable daily routine. On the nutrition front, aim for 5 servings of fruits and veggies daily. Fiber-rich foods, like broccoli, for example, are absolutely fantastic for your liver's health. Crucially, try to keep your added sugar intake under 25 grams a day and lay off the fried fats. For hydration, remember your chemical lab needs fluids to run its detox processes, so you want to aim for 2 to 3 liters of water a day. And on the medical side, if you are over 40 or overweight, make it a habit to get an annual blood test to check your ALT and AST liver enzymes. It's a super simple standard test that can catch that silent damage we talked about way before it becomes a real problem.
Seriously, if you are going to take a screenshot of anything in this entire explainer, make it this, your ultimate 4-step defense protocol. Step 1, proper nutrition. Feed the lab the right materials to do its job. Step 2, exercise and weight management. Keep the engine running efficiently to burn off that excess fat. Step 3, avoid toxins. That means cutting out alcohol entirely and never exceeding recommended doses for over-the-counter meds. And step 4, routine checkups, including getting screened for hepatitis B and C. These 4 steps right here, they are your shield.
Let's pivot slightly for our final section. Part 3, a sacred bodily trust. Viewing health as a moral duty. Looking at some profound Islamic wisdom, there is this famous saying from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him: "The strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer." What is truly fascinating about this quote when we talk about health is how it totally reframes bodily care. It's not just some physical necessity or a superficial vanity project, you know? Maintaining your health and your strength is actually framed as a moral duty, an act of spiritual discipline. This brings us to a really beautiful concept known as amana, which basically translates to a trust. Your body isn't just a vessel that you own to do whatever you please with, it's an amana, a sacred trust given to you to protect and maintain during your life. And when you apply this concept to the liver, the impact is astounding. By protecting this single 1.5 kilogram organ, you are effectively shielding yourself from up to 80% of common metabolic diseases. When the master laboratory is functioning perfectly, the rest of the bodily trust naturally thrives. Which brings us to our final thought for today. The biology is crystal clear and the stakes are incredibly high, but the power to protect yourself is entirely in your hands. Your life filter, this brilliant silent chemical laboratory, has literally never stopped working for you since the day you were born. So the question I want to leave you with today is simple. Will you start working for it? Take a hard look at your daily habits, your water intake, your nutrition. What is one small change you can make today to support your unsung hero? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating internal world with me, and I truly hope this empowers you to take absolute charge of your health.